What's good, my ghouls and goblins, and a happy hail payment to each and every one of you. My name is Taylor, and welcome back to your weekly live streaming horror movie podcast, Reely Scared. As always, I am joined by the man, the myth, the legend, the top goblin himself, Connor Breedlove. How are you, buddy?
Good. Hail Paimon.
Hail Paimon. Hell yeah, brother. Eighth king of hell, we love him. How are you, friend? So great.
Oh, no. I am doing good. Taylor just dropped out, apparently. Oh, there he is.
You can see me?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Right off the bat, we were just talking about this before the show started. As soon as I say, oh, no, something bad happened, and it was 20 seconds into the show.
We were literally just talking about this. It's
God damn it. I'm so sorry, buddy.
No.
Okay, you're back.
Okay.
You're back.
Maybe I should just go reset right now and just get it over with. What do you think?
Yeah, go for it.
Well, wait, now it's looking good. If it happens one more time, I'll go take care of business.
Okay, I'm doing good, apparently better than you.
We're getting off to a roaring start. This is how it is. We invoked it. We cursed ourselves. Yeah. Welcome to Reely Scared for now. while we're still here. Welcome to Reely Scared. This is the horror movie podcast where every single week we are joined by a special guest to discuss a film of their choosing. I'm so excited for this one. Big movie tonight. We always knew we were going to be talking about this one.
Yeah.
Before we get started, before we get the show on the road here, before my internet gives out and I disappear forever to never return, be sure wherever you're watching us, we are live on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. Help us out. Give us a little thumbs up, subscribe, follow, whichever you can do on that platform if you are watching us live. As you see in the bottom right corner, we did just set up a Streamlabs for this channel. You do not have to do a Streamlabs in order for us to see your comments or read your comments. By no means is that necessary. It's not going to change how the show runs whatsoever. But if you want to support the show, throw a couple golden Paimon coins our way. Help us keep the lights on and the StreamYard running. Maybe help me get a new internet modem. If you are so inclined, it does go a long way and help us out. But you do not need to. We will put the comments up and talk to you guys all the same. Nothing's going to change there. We appreciate the support. Of course, if you aren't listening to us live, watching us on YouTube or on our audio podcast platforms, again, a comment helps. Rating the episode helps. And what else helps, Connor? What could they do on their favorite audio podcast platform?
They can leave us a little cute prayer to Paimon. Just a little cutie. You can say your prayers to Paimon and just tell us how much you love this show. So definitely do that.
And in the review section, that is. Make sure you
in the review,
a little Paimon prayer in the review section. Doesn't have to be anything too verbose or grand. Just a quick little conjuring spell to help those numbers go way up, baby.
Make it cute too.
Yeah, and make it a little cute. Make it a little nasty. Help us out here at the Reely Scared podcast. Thanks for joining us tonight, guys. I'm really excited for this one. Big movie. We're going to be talking about Hereditary with our special guest. Speaking of special guests, look at this. Kayla Marie T in the chat. What up, spooky bitches? How you doing? Great. Thank you for tuning in. We love to see it. Kayla's been on the show a couple times. Always a pleasure. Why don't we bring our special guest in to talk about this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Massive, dreadful, horrifying movie. Ghouls and Goblins, put your hands together for Twitch streamer Ashlinaa.
Hello. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. Hi. Hello, everyone. How are we doing? Thank you all for being here. Thank you for coming to spend time with us. Thank you for hanging out. I did not laugh when your internet cut out. I didn't.
I bet you did. I bet you did. I couldn't see if you did because my entire screen went blank, but I bet you did.
I was laughing. I was like, oh no. Oh no. But you're here, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
I'm here for now. We'll see how it goes. Thanks for coming on, Ashley. How are you?
Of course. I'm doing well. Besides having a sinus and ear infection, I'm doing good. I'm doing well. I don't really have anything to report. I got a new PS5. That's the only thing new in my life right now.
I'm very jealous.
Oh, it was hard. It was the most stressful thing I've ever done. So I won't give you that stress. So yeah.
Are you perhaps playing the new Resident Evil?
So I want to play Biohazard first.
Okay.
I'm going to play that first. And then I want to play some of the older ones as well, because don't hate me, I've never played them before. So
none of them.
None. My dad played the old ones. I watched him play, but I've never experienced it myself. So I'm excited. I'm ready to pee my pants. It's going to be awesome.
I hear that. I did sneak on. We don't get a lot of gaming done on our Twitch these days, but I did sneak on a few nights ago and played a little bit of Village. And oh my god, it's hard for me to. It's hard for me to find time for games in my life right now, but I just had to check that one out, and it got me. Those goddamn wolves got me.
Oh yeah. It looks absolutely
I'm gonna have to get a capture card and Resident Evil.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. I'm so stoked. I'm so ready. I'm so nervous. All of the things. Yeah. Well, I'm excited.
Well, I feel like this is a great place to start. When we bring these guests on, I love hearing kind of their horror movie origin stories, so to speak. Obviously, you're a fan of horror games. I know you played them quite a bit on Twitch. And we're talking about a very scary movie tonight. What got you into this genre? What's the fascination with horror for you?
So, actually, shout out to, I've actually told this story a couple of times, but I'm going to tell it again. Shout out to my childhood best friend, Jessica. She lived down the road, and her house was the spooky house in the neighborhood. It was the one that was always constantly decorated for Halloween, like 24/7. Obviously, I fell in love with that immediately. And we like broke the rules and like stole all of her mom's movies because her mom was into horror. And we stole all of her mom's movies, and we watched, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street. We watched all of those like classic slasher movies, I would say. But I mean, we also watched The Hills Have Eyes. Oh my gosh, we watched so many movies. But that's like really where I started to fall in love with it, was like my preteens, I guess you could say. I think slasher movies are gonna have to be my absolute favorite, especially Halloween. I just love that. What would you call it? Like 80s, 70s, 80s horror. That genre is like the best to me. I don't know what it is, but it is the best to me. I love it. But that's how it started. And of course, I think every horror person can relate to this. Through high school, I kind of hid that part away from people because it was always like, oh, you're so weird. Like, why do you like horror movies? Are you like a serial killer? Do you worship the devil? Like all this weird shit. So I didn't really talk about it fully as much as I have until a few years ago. And the horror community just took me in. They're like, this is awesome. Someone who has found themselves, I guess you could say. I would say that that's how I got started into horror and like my come up story, I guess. I don't know.
You mentioned the horror community, and they are like, the horror community generally is like really welcoming.
Incredible.
Because I mean, you look at like film Twitter and the discourse on there, it's like, oh, you haven't seen this, you don't know film.
Yeah.
But with horror, it's like the horror community, it's like, oh, you haven't seen this movie, well, you should check out these movies as well as the one you haven't seen.
Right.
You'll have like an appreciation for these movies, and like, it's not like judgmental. I think the horror community is like one of the best communities, movie wise and game wise too.
Yes, no, absolutely. Everyone was so welcoming, and like, I had only had the slasher knowledge, and now I'm getting to experience all of these like newer movies, like Hereditary, for example. We're going to talk about that. Like, I'm getting to experience all of these newer movies and stuff, and getting to show appreciation for them, and everyone has just welcomed me with open arms and just like been so supportive, and like, be yourself, don't hide this part away from anyone any longer, because this is you, and it's the best I've felt in a very, very, very long time. And really, I know that's like goes a little bit deeper than horror, but just like finally being able to be myself and just love horror movies and gore and slasher movies, like, hell yeah, rock on, So
It's weirdos supporting weirdos, right? That's what we all are.
Right. No, you're exactly right. And yeah, the horror community opened up to me with open arms, and I could not be more thankful for that, and just the support. Like, they support literally everything I do. Even if I'm not playing a horror game and I'm playing like a cute indie game, they're like, oh my God, like, we're totally going to come hang out. You know what I mean? So they're just so supportive and so loving. I love it. Love.
I need to get back into Visage.
Huh?
Kayla mentioned Visage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I haven't played that in a while. The last stream I did, I had like 2 giant scares, and I was like, I'm good for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Did that game scare you off of like streaming? Was that like your entire?
That was the last game I streamed on the channel, and I would say, yeah, probably scared.
Oh my God, that is so funny. To warm up for tonight, I actually played some. They have 7 Days to Die on the PlayStation, and I love that game, but I hate it when you're playing alone. It is fucking scary. I was like, is it daytime yet? I'm really scared. It's like, oh my God. But no, Visage. No, no. No. That is pee your pants on stream material. Absolutely. Yeah.
That one looks horrifying. Kayla in the chat, new Resident Evil is less scary but very enjoyable. It wasn't less scary for me yet. Granted, I only played it for like 2 or so hours. So a lot of intense running from werewolves, and I haven't quite gotten to like the giant boss lady stuff quite yet. I just showed up in the castle. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
Get it right. Vampire mommy. It right.
Vampire
I'm just kidding.
Now, you mentioned that you were a big fan of the 70s and 80s like slasher movies. So when proposed with the choice of what movie to talk about on the show, why did you choose Hereditary?
Because it was fresh. I had just watched it, and I was like, I have so many thoughts and so many emotions. Kayla actually watched it with my community. We had a horror movie night, and Kayla had watched it. She was the one that recommended it to me because I loved Midsommar, obviously. And Ari Aster, freaking just killing it right now. And I was like, okay, I'm really scared of this because I've heard some things, but I'm ready, and I'm so glad Kayla was there to kind of hold my hand emotionally. But it was fresh, and I was like, I want to talk about this. I always could talk about Halloween. I always could talk about Scream. I can always talk about Friday the 13th, like all those things. So let's talk about a newer one. That's why.
I think it's a great choice because, as Kayla will attest to, Ari Aster's movies are very much worth talking about. She would know after the absolute gauntlet conversation we had about it a couple of months ago with her and our friend Paige. This is a big one, and I think Ari Aster's movies very much lend themselves to conversation and interpretation.
Oh, absolutely.
Theorizing and things like that. They're just prime material for it. And when we decided this is how we wanted to take the show, focusing in on specific movies with guests, we always knew eventually we'd get to Hereditary. It was like, there's no way we will be waiting too long before somebody says that's the one I want to talk about. And here we are. We did it. So
it's me. It's
you. And yes, Kayla, that episode was 4 hours long.
Yes.
Yeah. 4 hours. I don't doubt it. Kayla can talk about Midsommar forever. We still talk about it. Her and I still talk about it and the elements and just everything. Kayla is actually, we watch movies together. Like if we're both on like a stream break or we have a day off, like, hey, do you want to get in Discord and watch a movie? We just watched Stowaway together on Netflix. I would say it's not a horror movie. It's definitely a suspenseful tightening of the chest kind of movie, which really honestly to me is like horror because you don't feel good the whole time you're watching it and you feel tight in your chest and like you're gonna throw up, and to me that's another element of horror. So yeah.
This is totally off topic, but we're talking about other movies. You know what movie is actually really scary that I just watched, but it's totally not a horror movie? The movie Greenland.
Okay.
With Gerard Butler. The movie's terrifying.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Greenland or Green Light?
Greenland.
Okay.
It's about like asteroid or a comet that like is
Yeah.
like coming towards Earth, and they only have like 48 hours.
Yeah, no,
left
that's terrifying.
alive.
Yeah.
And it's not a horror movie, but it's so scary because like it's based on like that could happen, and there's nothing you can do about it. So like watching this movie and like these people are running around like chickens with their heads cut off, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah.
Like,
the dread of it, and just the it's coming. Ooh, yeah, no, that's definitely horror to me. That is definitely horror to me.
I remember seeing. I feel like Connor. I feel like you and I kind of clowned on that one last year on the show, but it turned out pretty good, huh?
Yeah, no, the movie's actually really, really fucking good. It just hit HBO Max, and we threw it on, and me and my fiance were watching it in bed, and she's like, "Why did you turn this on? Like when I'm trying to go to sleep?" So I now want to watch this, and so we just watched it, and it was actually really good. Yeah, I would definitely recommend it. Totally off topic, but
no, that's totally fine.
We're always up for recommendations on this show. I'll have to give that a spin now that it's on HBO. I'll have to give that a look. Hereditary. God damn, this movie. I can still, as people who talk about horror movies and watch a lot of them, I'm inclined to think like, it takes a lot to kind of really scare me in a movie, right? And I think that's still true. That doesn't mean, the difference between whether I like a horror movie or don't like it isn't necessarily did it scare me, more so just did it entertain me. But this movie has the distinction of scaring the shit out of me.
It scared the fucking shit out of me. Like, for real.
Yeah. And in a way that I don't get often. So when I get it, it's very distinct and it sticks with me.
Yeah.
I can remember, and by the way, we should, I guess, disclaimer, full Hereditary spoilers on this.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's two movies that I can distinctly remember coming home and like checking like empty rooms to make sure nothing was in there. One is Sinister, which we'll talk about later on the show this month. And this movie, I was like checking the corners of rooms to make sure there was no creepy women just hanging out in the corner of the room. But yeah,
bro,
those two, like this movie and Sinister, are movies that just terrify me.
Oh my god. Oh, I'm just getting the chills thinking about that part that you just mentioned. Oh my god. Yeah.
I remember too so this is the first time I think I'd seen it 2 times prior in the theater, and then I hadn't watched it again until this one. And by the way, I usually make it a habit to try and watch the movie we talk about 2 times in that week. I knew, nope, this is going to be 1 time this week. I can only sit down and watch this 1 time this week. I remember...
We have not covered Oculus, but if you want to come on again and talk about Oculus, I love Oculus. So
we love Mike Flanagan on the show. I remember, when in the lead up to this movie coming out, and it was like it was such a secret, because like this is Ari Aster's feature debut, so like nobody knew who that was, and like A24 as a studio and distributor still kind of like nailing down their identity of like, we put out this really high quality different type of movies. And I remember the marketing for this, the trailers, I thought I'd kind of nailed down what this was, which was like a creepy kid possession movie. They really focused it all around Charlie. And I was like, okay, that looks interesting, but I think I get what kind of movie this is. And then watching it for the first time, and again, full spoilers, disclaimer, full spoilers of Hereditary. If you haven't seen it, go see it. But Charlie getting her freaking head knocked off in the first 15 minutes. Quite truly floored me.
We had the opposite reaction to the trailers, because I would say it was probably like a year or 2 before Hereditary, They Come at Night came out. Everybody's like, they knew what they were getting based on the trailers. Then they saw the movie and they're like, that's not what I expected, and they hated it. So when I saw the trailers for Hereditary, I'm like, looks like a creepy kid movie, but that is not at all what it is. I was like, that's not what we're getting. There's going to be more to this, and people are going to hate this movie. And it does have like a very hateful following. But there are the people that are like, this is the scariest movie ever.
It's very polarizing when it came out, right?
Yeah.
And you mentioned It Comes at Night. I think that's another great instance of it. It was like, I think A24 kind of knows what they're doing because they have this really unique opportunity to take like very creator driven movies and get them financed and distribute them and get them an actual like widespread release.
Yeah.
Not just playing in your, sort of corner indie theaters. It's like
this came out when I was managing Regal, and
oh wow, okay.
They had showtimes sold out for like 2 weeks straight.
Wow.
Like showtimes were being sold out. Like they were packed. People.
It's probably because Midsommar did so well. They saw, Ari Aster was on another one, and they were like, "Oh hell yeah, sign me up!" And then they were probably thinking like you, Taylor, where it was like, "I know what this is going to be about. Totally, I'm in for it." And then no, you freaking absolutely blindside, terrifying. Like Oh my God.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to keep interrupting, but like the only thing that I can just like that I felt the most during this movie was just dread. They did a really good job of making you feel like shit for everything that was going on, making you feel like you were involved, like you did it, like you knocked Charlie's head off, like you did this, and you're just like feeling like emotionally and mentally just attacked by the movie, And that to me, that is that element of horror where you're just psychologically like getting hit from a bunch of different angles. That to me is what makes such a good horror movie, besides, all of the gore, killing and all that stuff. Like that to me, that is what really sealed the deal and why I wanted to talk about it, because I don't think this element of horror, this emotional, psychological take that it does on you is talked about enough. Like, I feel like, we need to talk more about the psychological aspects of horror. Why do people watch horror? It's because we don't have to feel things directly. It's almost like, it's called something like if someone gets like their arm cut off and like they're watching someone at phantom pain. It's called phantom pain. So we're going through these experiences phantomly, and that we don't have to experience the real horror of it, but we still get to feel it and experience it in a different way. Like, come on, like that's awesome.
I don't know if you've seen the movie Hard Candy, but they actually have like a thing that like deals with phantom pain.
Okay. No, I haven't seen that.
It's on Amazon Prime, I think now.
Okay.
Definitely check it out. It has Elliot Page, and I can't remember who the guy is.
I think it's Patrick Wilson.
Patrick Wilson, yeah. Patrick Wilson. There's like a whole like plot point that deals with phantom pain.
Okay.
And it is insane.
Yeah.
So definitely check out Hard Candy.
Okay. I have a whole list of movies that I need to watch, to be honest. I'm really behind. I'm really, really, really behind. But
Hard Candy is like a must watch. So
it's good. Really good, tight thriller. But going back to seeing this movie for the first time, that's actually a really interesting sort of insight, that the whole idea, that your empathy like trapping you in the movie. Because when I first saw this, I was talking about how caught off guard I was with what happens to Charlie. And for a couple different reasons. One, because it completely knocked me on my ass of like what movie I thought I had showed up to watch that day.
Yeah, because the trailers showed Charlie so much.
Like,
the trailers were focused on Charlie. So when in like 20 minutes in, she's decapitated off of a fucking light post, you're like, I have no idea where this movie is going now.
That whole situation was so...
And not said it well earlier, peeking through your hands the first time you watched it.
I audibly gasped when
for me, it wasn't so much peeking through my hands as it was like, I was like this the rest of the movie, like just braced me for impact. Like I just think I kept sinking lower and lower in my seat.
When it was like, when a movie has me, I like lean forward in my seat. I'm like, okay.
I'm pretty sure I was like this the rest of the time. Just like, what else is gonna come at me like that? Because that whole and then I think where they really get you to is the brother literally just drives home, goes upstairs and goes to bed. Like he is so just like numb. Like,
and then you don't see it, but you hear the mom
Yes.
screaming.
yes.
Toni Collette, who should have been nominated at least, but should have won. You know,
Toni Collette.
that's
Love
a different.
that woman. Yeah.
That's a different conversation, but she should have
Yeah.
won.
Oh, absolutely.
At least
100%.
nominated.
At
Yeah.
least nominated.
Bunch of cowards.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, it's the reeling thing of like, oh, these crazy sons of bitches pulled this off this early, and we've got 2 hours left to go.
Yeah.
What planet am I on? And like,
Yeah.
where are they going to take? So it was like the pure, just suspense and, like you'd said, dread in that experience.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
you know, I remember the first time I'd seen it, I was like not in the best place mentally and emotionally.
Yeah.
And there was this weird thing where, like, when that was happening, you know, seeing what Toni Collette's character is going through and her reaction to that, I remember thinking like, oh, I don't think I needed to engage with this today. But then going through the crucible of that whole movie, by the end of it, there was this weird catharsis for me where I was like, I feel better.
Yeah. No, seriously though. Seriously. And like that whole conversation that they're having at the dinner table, you know, where they end up arguing, you just like feel like you are so much a part of that. And just like, oh my God, it seriously hurt my stomach to like watch that and like feel. They did such a good job making you feel like you were in the movie, like you were a part of it. You were there, you were experienced. They did such a good job with that. Dread is like the highlight word that pops up for me when I think about this movie. Is just like the dread. I literally felt like I was gonna throw up the whole entire, like from Charlie on. Like I legit felt like I was gonna throw up because they put the pressure on you. They really did. Really did.
Yeah, it's the most awkward and tense family dinner.
Yes. Oh my
ever.
God. And then the dad, and you're just like,
let's talk about the dad, because the dad,
I love him,
gets the shit end of the stick.
Yeah.
The whole entire movie.
Yeah.
Dude is just so nice and like is, you know, the cooler head prevailing the whole movie.
Yeah.
Just so calm and understanding about everything, regardless of the dire circumstances happening.
Yeah.
Everything's happening around him, and he's like, okay, I'm keeping this family together.
Yeah.
And he's just getting the worst of it.
Yeah.
Especially at the end.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. No, for me, a lot of those moments were, when is he going to start crying? When is he going to break down? I'm waiting for his breakdown. Where is it? You know, I was waiting for it, and he just like still, you know, stayed so strong. And I'm like, where is his breaking moment? And unfortunately, he gets caught on fire. So, you know, I was just like, oh, you do not get that emotional release with him, which kind of sucks, you know?
Because you're waiting for it, and then you're like,
exactly.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. So oh my God, that, like
heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because you have such a like emotional connection to the guy, because you're like, oh my God, he's trying so hard.
So much, like, so much. Like, okay, first of all, their daughter gets decapitated, and then doesn't her grave get desecrated, correct? Right.
The mother's does.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so
he has to keep that to himself. That's like his burden.
Yeah, exactly. So he's going through. That's right. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, because it starts with the grandmother dying.
That's right.
And he's dealing with his wife's grief.
Yeah.
And then everything happens with Charlie, and then the son, and then the grandmother's grave being desecrated. So he has like 4 things he's juggling.
Yeah.
He's like, oh my God.
How can you?
You're just so like connected to him. You're like, wow, he's going to break soon. And then it's just, it's worse than just breaking down. He just gets lit on fire.
Yeah, no, seriously. And Kayla, what the, y'all had to explain that to me a few times, because even I was like, wait a second, this is really fucked up. Are you sure this is what is happening? And it's like totally 100% what was happening. And like, that made it even worse. Oh my God, that made it even worse. Like, you have this weird family element. You have this unhealthy family element. You have this creepiness. Oh my God, it was just you feel like you need to take a shower when you're done watching it, for real.
Yeah.
For real. You just feel like gross, and just like dread and like I'm gonna throw up. I feel like I'm gonna be sick,
So
which makes it great.
I don't know about you guys, but the first time, like the moment I knew this movie was going to terrify me was when the mom walks in, Toni Collette's character walks into like the back room where all the boxes are of the grandmothers.
Yeah.
And she sees the grandmother just in the corner, like her silhouette. That part freaked me out, and I was like, this movie is going to terrify me.
I just got the chills. Yep.
I think not seeing things is scarier than like in your face scary.
Oh yeah.
Scares.
You
like,
see
just,
her hanging in that corner. I was
yeah,
like,
just
what
barely
the
see
fuck?
her,
Yeah,
and then she's
no.
gone.
No. Absolutely not.
That part, like, yeah, just thinking about it is scaring me. But the moment I saw that, I was like,
this is going to take a turn. Like, that's what I thought. I was like, wait, this is nothing like what I thought it was going to be. You're telling me there's some paranormal aspects to this shit? Because that's the kind of movies that scare me the most, is paranormal, because I believe in that shit 100%. I believe in ghosts. I believe in it. And so when I was seeing all that stuff, I was like, oh God, I like started getting sweaty. I was like, okay, I got to prepare myself, but when they say paranormal in this sense, like they go dark, they go deep. Holy shit, the treehouse, at the end, I was like, what? Hello? Where did that come from? Like, I was literally like, what? Wow. But it worked. It worked.
Yeah.
And oh my God. Yeah, no. The not being able to see, but you see it stuff like in the corner. No. No.
And they're real selective when they, with Ari Aster, I've done a little bit I think he's just a fascinating person, especially just the way he just kind of shows up on the scene and like lays waste to it immediately. This is all mine now. Like I'm doing
he just shows up and he's like, here's a very scary movie that will fuck you up, and people are going to be talking about it on both sides for when did that come out? 2016, 2017?
I thought it was 17.
For Hereditary?
Yeah. No, hold on.
Hereditary was 18.
18.
18. Oh,
18.
I think it came out in the summer too. Like this was like a summer release, which is hilarious.
Yeah, it was. I think it was like June of 18. You're right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we're talking about it 3 years later. Most scary movies are like front loaded. You talk about it for the first few weeks.
Yeah.
And then it kind of goes by the wayside.
Yeah.
But this movie, people are talking about it still 3 years later, and like he just shows up out of nowhere and makes 2 movies in the span of like 3 years, and people are talking about it.
Seriously.
And his approach to this movie, my understanding was like,
that's what I wanted to talk about next, was like his approach, like
because his
digesting that.
He originally had this script, and it wasn't a horror movie at all. He had this idea to do this family drama where they experience something so terrible, and then like let's do like a character study of how they get through that and how they respond to that. Still talking about it. You can't not talk about Charlie.
No, seriously.
But that was what he had originally, and then as he's pitching it to A24 and starts getting things moving, he like sees the potential for it to become a horror film, and he goes back and starts adding these different elements, which I think really make it very unique and particular. But like things like that, like the grandma showing up in the corner, other horror movies, in by the way, we were talking about the gatekeeping thing earlier. It's like here on this show we've got appreciation for the entire myriad of horror films.
Absolutely.
So like a jump scare heavy Blumhouse thing, like we love that too.
But
absolutely. Like one of those movies, the grandma's in the corner and she jumps at her and goes blah, like that it never goes there until like the very end. Like grandma shows up, she disappears, and then there's nothing even really like that in the movie again for like another 40 minutes.
Yes.
It really takes its time, which I know is one of the things that aggravated a lot of people seeing it for the first time. They're like, oh, it's long, oh, it's boring. No. It's a different kind of experience. It's engaging on a different level.
They make you sit in it. In it. That's why. And that's the uncomfortable part about it, is people don't want to sit in what just happened, and they make you. Ari makes you. He's like, nope, you're going to sit in this and you're going to feel what this would really feel like.
I hear that argument about like, oh, this movie's so slow, like it takes forever to get into it. This is my like I said, 5th or 6th time watching it, and this was like, I was like, wow, they really don't waste time to.
They don't slow down, in my opinion.
Creeped out, like it's right away. You're creeped out. You're unsettled.
Yeah.
People just with horror movies, general audiences want that jump scare.
Yeah. True.
But I think the scarier movies are more subtle. Like Kayla said, it's the more subtle, the more disturbing. And this one is definitely very disturbing and very subtle.
Right.
To a point.
Yeah, right. And like I said, Ari, makes you sit in these emotions, and that no one wants to do that. What does a human want to do when they're going through a hard time? They just want to shove it under the rug.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to forget about it, numb it however they can. And Ari's like, no, y'all are going to sit and you're going to watch this family fucking fall apart and fight 24/7. And you're going to watch, Toni Collette's character absolutely just fall apart and, bursting at the seams. And then she finally finds a support system, a friend to help her through it. Little does she know, this friend is really going behind her back. That Ari makes you sit in it, and no one wants to do that. No, everyone wants to just get the scare over with. And I wanted to talk about Ari's approach to this, because it's almost like he went in and he said, because the grandma sitting in the corner could have been so silly, right? It could have been so silly, but it wasn't. And it was almost like he took a very confident approach to that. You know what I mean? I don't know how to explain it. Like, it could have been so corny, it could have been cheesy, but for some reason, those background elements and the dread that you're feeling while these things are happening, it made it even more terrifying. I don't know if I'm explaining it.
No, it could have been a very typical jump scare.
Yeah.
Where the lights turn off and it's like, ooh,
yeah,
someone's in the corner.
Yeah.
No, it's like you're almost second guessing yourself.
Right.
While Toni's character is also second guessing herself.
Yeah.
Because she like is kind of looking, and it's so subtle, and like you only see a little bit of the grandmother, and you're like, am I seeing that correctly?
Yes.
Like the way it's paced and shot is like you're in the exact headspace as the character experiencing
it. Thank you. That is what I was trying.
It's so smart. Like you don't get that often. You're not often put in the headspace of the character in these crazy circumstances.
Yeah.
But this movie does put you in that. And it's so like, that's just masterclass there.
Oh, absolutely. He throws you into these situations that, like, I mean, think about Midsummer. What the what? Hello? But oh god, he makes you just sit in it, and you're just like so uncomfortable the whole time. You're like, when is this going to be over? Like the family dinner, you're like, can this go on any longer? And I just wanted to talk about Ari's approach to it, because he almost has this confidence, like, shit, I know this is going to be scary, and like it is, So anyway, I just wanted to talk about his approach, because it felt very confident, and like, hell yeah, this is going to scare some people, and it fucking did. So anyway.
I would equate it to, like, when you watch a scary movie and you're watching a scary scene, like the strings ramp up and there's something down the hall and they're reaching for the door. It's like the anticipation that you feel in that scene. What if we stretched it out for 2 hours?
Yes.
And it's just like you're just waiting for it to break and release, and
a cliffhanger the whole time.
Yeah. Right. This movie I don't think it's like boring and long, but this is my 5th or 6th time watching it again, like I said, and the whole time I was thinking, like, this movie's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. And then I realized it's only like 2 hours and 5 minutes long. And I'm like, this movie scared me and stressed me out so much. I thought I was sitting with stress for like almost 3 hours.
No, seriously.
But it's like a brisk 2 hours. Like, it went by quick, but like in my headspace, I was just like, God, I have to sit almost 3 hours with this dread. And no, it's not 3 hours.
Yeah.
But the impression it leaves on you is it's
a lifetime of terror.
It truly puts a little cloud over your head for a while after watching it.
I'm still like, I still stress out just like thinking about it. And if I could mention this as well, you know, I'm a digester. Can you tell I like to chew a movie for a really long time before I swallow or whatever? But like, I've noticed how Ari is very much like, we're going to make you sit in this and like feel it, and you're going to hate every second about it. And then like for the last 5 minutes, I'm literally just going to throw all of this shit at you. You're going to be like, where's all this coming from? Oh my God, I'm still trying to process what happened. Oh and my God, what the fuck is this? Oh my, like.
And then your brain just
And then you're just like,
your brain just breaks and you don't know how to react. Like,
yes,
it's kind of towards the end. The son, what's his name?
Peter?
Is it Peter?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, it's Peter.
He's at school and he's sitting outside, and then he's just hearing that one. Judy? Was it Judy? Is that her name?
She is
the friend, right? The friend.
Yeah.
Joan.
Yeah.
Joan is like screaming at him, but she's like across the street. But it's so loud and the music is so loud. Yeah. My brain was breaking. I was watching this on my couch, and my brain was breaking.
Yeah.
And I was getting so stressed out for no reason.
Yeah.
Like my fiance was passed out, like just sleeping, and I'm just sitting there. It's like middle of the day, and I'm like so stressed out and aggravated because this movie is fucking with me.
Yeah, no, seriously. And I'll tell you, the part where I like just felt just like so done was like when you see the body, Peter's body, like being carried up the ladder. I was like, I'm done with this. Like I can't take it anymore. That is the scariest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, what's gonna happen now? I don't know if I can do it. I really don't know if I can do it, because what this family has been through, her freaking sawing her.
Oh my God. And then you just hear her body thump after Peter jumps out of the window. You just hear her body thump on the ground.
Yeah.
So here's where my brain breaks. Here's where my brain breaks. Seeing that movie for the first time is I just like it was so crazy and so sensory overload that all I could think to do was be like like I just started like laughing.
Yeah,
like,
in the theater, opening night, it was like a 9 p.m. showing. Half of the theater was just like silence, and then there was like random people just like their brain broke and they were like dying of laughter.
Yeah, because you're just like, wait, what? I remember, because we're all in Discord, right? And like I'm on my laptop, we're all watching the movie together, and I'm just like, huh? Wait, what? I was like, sensory overload. Y'all are taking the words out of my mouth. I can't describe very well, but I was just like, for real? What just happened? Huh? Like, it took me a second, and I was just like, that was the best movie I've ever seen. Because you're just like so broken emotionally, mentally, you know? Oh my God. Yeah. Sorry.
Like, it's one of those movies.
Can you tell I'm excited?
I just sat in the theater just in silence. I was just like, I didn't know what I just experienced, watched, what just happened to me. I didn't know what happened at all. I was just like, all right, I'm going to sit here until literally the lights in this theater come up, because I don't know what to do with my life.
Yeah. No, seriously.
There was some weird, for me, it was like, I was still scared, especially, I think where I finally like just lost my mind was when Alex Wolff's up there and he's crying, I'm sorry, mommy, I'm sorry. And she's knocking on the door, and then it cuts to her head. She's knocking with her head. That's when I finally went, well, I'm going insane. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The part where I went insane was when the dream sequence with the paint thinner, where they're literally just arguing and there's no music or anything. Nope. There's no soundtrack. They're just arguing and crying, and then all of a sudden, like, you don't see her arms move, but a match is like struck, and then she just lights on fire.
Yeah.
And they're just crying, and then the soundtrack kicks in. That's where I was like, okay, like, this is what I guess I'm dealing with this. Like, literally, I want to get out of this theater now. You literally, like, this is us like watching the movie. Do. Okay, I'm comfortable, and then whoa, a freaking U-turn all of a sudden. You're just like, shit. Like, I realized what I had really gotten myself into when she's like watching her husband. She's like, and then she's like, and you're like, what the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? Where she's like crying, and then she just straight face, and you're like, what just happened? I don't like that, you know?
And oh my God, no, this movie was just so great. And the ants, him waking up with and just like dreaming about the ants being on him. Ants are like that's one of my like bug fears, I guess you could say.
Oh no.
And that was fucking awful. I literally had to like, is it over yet? Is it over yet? Because I hate ants. And like those elements of just like uncomfortable, like this is making me so uncomfortable. Like so good. So good. So bad, but so good.
What's scarier?
1408, Room 1408 is a fantastic Stephen King movie. I agree. That movie jarred me quite a bit when I saw that too. I have like Stephen King. I feel like this is just a personal opinion. I feel like reading his stuff is way better than watching it. That's Stephen King adaptations are few and far between. In terms of quality. Yeah, I like reading it better. Yeah, there's obviously The Shining, and then I love the new It movies.
Yes.
Andy Muschietti's
oh my God, yes.
It movies are fantastic. I love both of them.
Love.
Yeah, we're definitely
1408 is one of those rare hidden gems that not a lot of people have seen.
Okay,
but it's fantastic.
I haven't seen it, so I mean, you got me. You know what I mean? But like, I have noticed, like, you know, like in the tall grass and stuff. I was just like
in the tall grass,
like I would rather just like read his stuff than really watch it. But I mean, like you have to
Dr.
give it a chance, right?
Dr. Sleep was great. I think he's in a resurgent because even Harold's Game, when we talked about that movie. Whew.
Yeah.
That's
love him. Obviously, we all do as horror fans, right? But like that was just how I was starting to feel after watching a few of them. I was like, okay, I'm like, I would just much rather just continue reading him than watching. But you know, talk about reading. Could you imagine reading Hereditary?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
And it would be definitely a Stephen King-esque like
for sure
100-page epic, right? Like it would be gigantic.
For sure.
Something I really like about this movie, it's in Midsommar. I can definitely like remember. I try not to repeat too much between what I said about Midsommar when talking about Ari Aster, but like you can see how fascinated he is in putting in those little clues and Easter eggs, having these little background elements of the film that matter in ways that you may not immediately get, or even once you finish the film may not be clear until a rewatch or two.
Yeah,
he's already calling a shot in this movie.
Yeah.
It's all over this movie, all the way down to the freaking cult insignia on the telephone pole, which is still making me go, you know, like, how is that possible?
Yeah.
You know?
Explain that to me. Explain it to me.
Now, rewatching this for the uptime time, did you, I noticed when, you know, they're underneath the bleachers smoking weed.
Yeah.
And he starts hyperventilating. I was like, is he Charlie now? Like, kind of in this scene, like just hyperventilating, or is that stress?
Oh,
and I was like, hey, off first glance, you're like, that's just stress, and he's high. But the cult insignia on the light post, they kind of mention it at the end when they're like, we've corrected the female body. Like they immediately knew, like we need to get rid of this girl.
Yeah. So Ashley, on the way, and I saw Kayla was saying she didn't know either. When Peter and Charlie are leaving to go to the party, they drive down that road, and it camera pans and it pauses on the telephone pole, which you don't know matters yet.
Okay.
But it pauses on it.
Right.
You can see carved into the pole that eventually kills Charlie is the insignia that like Toni Collette's mother like wears around her neck and is like featured in all sorts of the decor and things. So implication
I just got the fucking chills. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, when she's looking through the book that her the grandmother left her.
Yeah, with the pictures
through
and
it,
shit. Yeah.
There's the insignia in that book as well.
I saw that. Okay, what the? Okay, now see, I did not even see that.
So it was like everything that plays out was like, or it plays out
around that
pretty much
symbol.
Planned on this one moment. Like,
this
is going to be the inciting incident here because we've marked it. Is basically like kind of what that's showing, I would guess. I still don't know.
That blows my fucking mind. Sorry, wow. Okay. Oh,
I've got it pulled up here. I don't know how well you can see it. Even now,
okay, yeah.
It's
right there.
right here.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what that said. I thought it said 666 or some shit. Like I
might
didn't
as
know.
well be.
Okay.
Yeah. So implication, somehow being that the cult is plotting this right from the jump in ways that seem, basically impossible. Because it's like, okay, they've chosen this pole as like the ritual weapon that will take Charlie's head off. But like, how could they have ever known that? Okay, they would go to this party and they'd be putting nuts in the cake and that Charlie would eat it and they drive back this. It's like, and then of course you can say, okay, that's who put the deer in the road that makes them swerve, right? This whole like symphony of disaster that's happening there, that's all set up. But it adds this extra element to the cult and their plan where it's like, okay, there must be some sort of element of like premonition or supernatural, intervention here that they would even know to do this because they've clearly plotted it so tightly.
That makes me want to throw up. Like seriously, first of all, that you're okay. So what it really boils down to is your fucking grandmother is a part of a cult and like wants to kill you and like sacrifice you to Paimon. Like, okay, yeah, sounds great. Like, no, absolutely. I'm like picturing my little abuelita, my little grandma, like plotting my death with symbols and shit. And I'm just like, no, like nothing about this is okay. Nothing about this movie is okay. Nothing about it.
Now, this was like one of the first movies that people coined the term like elevated horror. And
okay.
Friend of the show, Davis, who was on, said it feels like a Ira Levin book, like Rosemary's Baby or Stepford Wives. And for a while, I was thinking, like, what can I compare this movie to? Because a lot of people call it elevated horror, like it's horror adjacent almost, and you can't really compare it to any other horror movies. But I never kind of put that connection together. Like Rosemary's Baby is like one of those movies that made me feel what Hereditary made me feel. Like it adds like a lot of tension, and you're so creeped out and stressed out by this tension. And then it just throws everything at you at the end. I never put that together, but Rosemary's Baby was like the Hereditary of like the 60s.
Yeah, you're not even joking. I literally didn't put that together either. Now that you're saying it, I'm like, holy shit, you're right.
Yeah, definitely an influence. Definitely when he starts thinking, oh, I think there's a horror movie in this. Definitely feels like kind of from the same well that he's pulling from. There's a scene that I don't think I really appreciated this the first time I watched it, but I caught it this time, is when you first meet Peter when he's in class.
Oh my god!
Which, by the way, they have that great scene where he's like, because he's
slamming his fucking face on the desk.
Well, there's that too, but
no, you're talking about the fucking the rear view mirror.
No, I'm talking about before any of that even happened.
Oh,
literally when you meet Peter, I just think because Peter's he's just such like an average dipshit kid. Which I love.
Just wants to get high all the time. Yeah,
like he's just kind of a like burnout. Has this group of friends. He stares at girls' butts in class.
Yeah,
which I thought really like hammered home like just how like
average.
It wasn't like a sexy scene, right? It was like he's just looking at a butt, just a butt in the chair, like just as like a bored stoned high schooler would. But when they're having that scene, they're talking about like fatalism, and the teacher's like leading this conversation where he's like, would that be better or would that be worse that the characters in the story, they have like no input on their own fate, and they're just stuck in these like machinations of bigger things, and like what would be more tragic, them failing and dying and not being able to stop it or having like no effect on their destiny at all.
I didn't even think about that.
And I was watching it this time and I was like, oh, that's what the whole movie's about.
I literally did not catch that, and now I'm gonna have to watch this movie again.
I'm gonna have better judgment too. When I feel better and I don't feel like absolute caca, I'm gonna have to watch it because I just have to get in the mood to watch it now that I know what it's about and how it's gonna make me feel. I just like have to be like ready for it.
Yeah.
But y'all are So for me, like I said, we're watching it in Discord all together. So like there's some chatting going on. So I think I missed a lot of those smaller elements where as opposed to Midsummer, I watched it alone. So I saw the Leatherface reference, Texas Chainsaw Massacre reference with the skin and all that stuff. But like y'all are opening my eyes to like elements and foreshadowing that I didn't even freaking realize, and it's just blowing my mind and like is making me even more sick. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yes, this whole episode is just us making you feel worse for now.
We're just all like, I'm sick to my stomach. This movie's awfully awesome. Yeah, no. It's just that to me is why I love it so much, though. How those emotions play into a horror movie so much for me. Like, okay, we could talk about Halloween for a second. Like, Laurie Strode, she being the final girl as a woman, watching that and my emotions playing into it of what would I do if I was in that position and how she gets away. Like, that was a big reason why I love that movie so much, is because it made me feel powerful as a woman and the emotions that went into it. Now with this, like, that's why I also love this movie and appreciate it so much, because it makes you raw. It makes you like feel, and like, I was really honestly, like I said, I like to digest movies. I was really honestly putting myself in those positions, and I don't know what the fuck I would do. Like, I don't know what I would do if I was driving down the road and like my brother's head freaking got decapitated. You know what I mean? Like, how would I be feeling? Like, I really put myself in the movie, and I think that's why it's just like so fantastic.
Now we've talked about the dad, and we've talked about Peter, and we've talked about Tony Collette. Let's talk about Charlie.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Charlie.
Charlie.
Let's, because I want to. Yeah, let's talk about Charlie.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Me? Who? Taylor, go.
Poor Charlie.
Yeah.
Poor Charlie.
Yeah.
She really gets the roughest deal of anybody in this.
Like the shit end of the stick, literally.
First of all, this actress, I just want to shout out. Millie Shapiro.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen her TikToks?
I have not seen her TikTok.
No.
She's like an e-girl, like goth chick on
Oh,
TikTok.
hell yeah. Let's fucking go. Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Hell
she's like straight up like goth, like on TikTok.
Go.
I was like, that is so weird, because all I know her from is
cute
this
little
movie.
Yeah.
And then I see her TikToks, and I'm like,
let's fucking
all
go.
right.
Let's go. Oh my God. That is an immediate follow for me. Following. As soon as we're done here, I'm getting on TikTok.
We're getting Millie on the show. We got to get her on.
Yes. Hell yeah. That'd be
awesome. She's fantastic.
She's incredible. This is her feature film debut. I guess she's more of prior to this, more of a theater actor, and actually has a Tony for her portrayal of Matilda.
Okay.
Roald Dahl's Matilda.
Well, no, I wish she could have gotten nominated for an Oscar, so she could have been a step closer to the EGOT.
Yeah, she's got to put out her album, her mixtape. She'll be on her way. She's incredible in this.
Yeah,
and I have not seen her in anything else following it, and I hope I'm wrong, but I do suspect she'll have maybe a hard time getting cast in things, because it's like, this is such an intense, iconic performance to come out the gate with. It's going to be so hard for other people to see her as anything but Charlie.
Right.
I guess when they cast her, or like when Ari Aster saw her tape, or when she auditioned, whichever it was, that was the final moment where he went, oh, we might actually pull this off. He was like, who am I ever going to, what kid am I going to find that can sell this?
Right.
And when he saw her and did the audition with her, he was like, oh my God, we might actually make this movie, because this kid's going to kill it.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's very few movies where a sound coming from a character just instantly creeps me out. Like, people, for a while, like, people would just walk around and do that noise, and people would be freaked out. Just that.
Yep.
Like, you hear that in pitch black, you're frightened. You're like, oh God, what is gonna happen?
What is that movie? The clap on the stairs, and the clap.
Oh, Conjuring.
The Conjuring, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I'm like, it starts with the C. God, I should know that, right? But like that, even like just that little, you'll remember that, and you're like, no, I hate it. I hate every second of it. That little, no.
It's the little mnemonic device, and like, and why it's there or why she does it never really explored. But the way that they use it after she dies too.
Yeah.
It's just like they really take their time, but then all you need is just hearing that. You don't see anything, nothing's jumping out. And there's almost not even a music cue. It's just like the attention of being there in the dark, in the silence, and then hearing, and like she can't be there.
Yeah.
Horrifying.
Yeah, and I do want to talk about the music in this, or lack of, as well, because that to me also, like, that can just immediately just like set a scene, just immediate. I mean, music is a huge element to any movie, and I mean, oh god,
especially
they just
in horror movies. I think music is very, like, the soundtrack and the sound design is very important to any horror movie.
Yeah,
because especially when they use like string elements, like this movie, like it's so just, it is so off-putting. I think it's
that chill, like, down your spine factor kind of thing.
Especially when it's like in a tone, or like a note that seems unnatural. And like it seems it's very off note, and it's just like someone like putting the string or the bow to strings just randomly, and like, we're gonna just fuck up the audience here.
Yeah. No,
just
absolutely.
do whatever you want.
And like, think about it, like horror movies like Jaws. I mean, for example, like Donna, you will never forget that. Psycho, you'll never forget it. Halloween, you'll never ever forget it. And that's why I just love horror movies too.
I told you, it's very weird seeing her. Kayla just looked her up. It's very weird seeing her in this movie and then seeing her TikTok.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look her up too. What the heck? That is freaking adorable, to be honest.
I was listening to some interviews with her and the cast today as well, and even just that, like, seeing her removed from the context of this strange, scary little child, and seeing her, just carrying a normal conversation and being happy, it's just like, whoa! It made me so happy for her, because it's such a miserable time with Charlie in this movie.
It makes me want to see her in so much more, because you look at the girl in like 8th grade, which I kind of compare the two performances, because it's like two such awkward performances.
Yeah.
What's her name? Elsa? I think that's her name.
Elsie Fisher, I think.
Elsie, yeah. She's doing a lot. I want to see this girl. What's her name?
Hold on. I think it's Millie Shapiro.
Millie. I want to see her do so much more, because she's so good in this, and she could do a lot, especially in the horror genre.
Put her in Knives Out too. They're putting everybody in that movie.
Seriously.
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm just so excited.
Or put her in Bodies, the A24 slasher movie.
Right.
Yeah. Seriously though.
She's terrific in it, and it's so interesting to even think about what actually happens with that character in this movie. Because, like, and this is Ari Aster. This Midsommar like this too. It's like the duality of, like, this movie totally lends itself to being watched multiple times, but God, it's really difficult to do that, because it's where it takes you. The way they set up what's going to eventually happen to her, and what the cult as a whole is trying to do, which it never spells it out plainly. It never, we always talk about, there's the big exposition scene, like that. There's none of that. It's all just kind of get fed to you piecemeal.
Yeah.
And so by the end, I felt like I had a pretty good handle on it, but there were still some questions that, like, I don't think the movie's interested in answering. It wants to kind of leave you in that.
Absolutely.
You're like, I think I get about 70% of it, and then, like, there's like a 30% that's imperceivable, because it's like, no, they're on this cult's on another level, but
like, you can't even put yourself in that position, kind of thing.
Yeah. Like the grandma, the way I kind of tracked it was like, okay, the grandma, she worships Paimon, the 8th king of hell, or whichever it was.
What the fuck,
Which I love that too, by the way. It's like they didn't just go for the obvious, like, oh, Lucifer. They're like, we're gonna go a little bit down. Like, he's really busy. We're gonna go down the list and pick Paimon.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're like,
Paymon's available for this.
We know our shit. We know, like, the other 7 kings of hell are pretty fucking busy. Let's go with the 8th. Let's go with Paimon.
8th sounds good.
He probably doesn't have a lot going on. So let's go ahead and worship him. He might be interested in just fucking with this family for years.
Yeah.
And it does go back to years, because we hear about, the brother committing suicide because the grandma was they thought he was schizophrenic because he kept talking about the grandma putting people in him. You're like, no, that's really what she was trying to do.
Yeah.
And there's so like the sleepwalking and stuff. Like, no,
right.
Paimon was had a lot of free time over the decades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm reading about him right now to see if there is any elements that this is why they chose this one specifically. I haven't read anything yet, but if you're wondering what I'm looking at, but it's just, yeah, when you get towards the end and like they're all up in the treehouse, you're just like, my brain's gone at this point. So yeah, sounds about right.
And maybe his rituals like a little easier to pull off than the others. They're like, okay, 3 generations of beheaded women. All right, we can pull that off like this week, but 6th King of Hell, he's got we don't have the money to fund that.
Yeah.
Like this is the ritual we'll stick to.
Yeah.
But that's the grandma's like trying to, bring a demon onto this earth into the body of a male. It seems, again, they never say bluntly what the ritual is, but it seems like, okay, they have to bring him into the body of a male. Yeah. And they need, the loss of the head seems important because it happens 3 times. Yes. And we see 3 generations. We see, the grandmother, the mother, and the daughter.
Yeah. The sacrificial. Yeah.
And I think it was rooted with the grandmother because they talk about how the mom, Toni Collette's character, would not let the grandmother see Peter when he was born. But then they kind of rekindled the relationship, and that's when Charlie was born. And then we learned that like the grandmother was breastfeeding Charlie.
Yeah.
And so it's rooted with the connection of the grandmother.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she's like the leader of like, okay, I'm the one who's going to usher in the possession. And she always wanted Charlie to be a boy. So it was like just kind of like a domino effect. Like, all right, we kind of fucked up the ritual here. So we kind of like the first boy was ended up killing himself. Right. And then the second male born wasn't able to see him for ever, and now
because they had a bad relationship.
There's a newborn. We'll go ahead and try different like perspective here. And now we have to course correct and do all kinds of fucked up shit to this family.
No, just awful.
Yeah, and kill Charlie and get Charlie into Peter.
Yeah.
And then by the end, it seems like this is what I still am not quite sure about is like they're trying to bring Paimon into the earth. They put Charlie into Peter, and then like, and they very quickly communicate that they've accomplished that because as soon as Peter gets up, he goes, and you're like, oh, which is great. You're like, I get it. No one had to say it. I get it. Yeah. And, but then once he gets up there, before long they start calling him Paimon. So it's like Charlie was Paimon the whole time. Like we obviously see from the start, Charlie was a little different. Yeah. Charlie was a little out there. Yeah. And I think
I think with like the breastfeeding and like everything like that, like what we're supposed to understand is that Charlie from birth like was Paimon, so her soul was Paimon.
Yeah.
Right, right. Exactly. You're just like, you like trying to, connect these dots. Yeah. Theoretically, and you're just like, wait a second. Wait, what? And like I said, I'm still trying to see why they chose Paimon, just to see if there's like so Paimon first appeared in the anonymously written grimoire called Lesser Key of Solomon, where he's called a great king, one of Lucifer's most obedient devotees, and a master of art and science. In most lore, he is known for riding a camel, blah, 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 blah. Additionally, Paimon has powers, among them knowledge of past and future events, clearing up doubts, making spirits appear, creating visions, acquiring and dismissing servant spirits, reanimating the dead for several years. So it almost seems like it says a lot of those powers are evident in Hereditary, especially after Annie performs the seance to communicate with Charlie. Yeah. Yeah. So that seems to be why they chose that
And that could call back to like the note the grandmother left the mom.
Right.
Like our sacrifices will pale in comparison to the like whatever. I can't remember exactly what it said.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I have a question.
Like that's a callback.
I have a question. Do you think that there's going to be another one?
I don't think Ari Aster will ever do a sequel to any of his movies.
I don't think so either. I was just curious. Like,
it'd be so cool to see Peter as like an adult.
Yeah.
An adult Paimon.
Didn't like the Omen
Peter
movies,
Charlie.
Didn't like the Omen movies eventually get around to like Damien becoming the president or something?
Yeah, there's like
Yeah.
I think 4 or 5 Omen
Yeah.
movies, and then Damien is like a high-ranking like political figure.
Yeah. Can we not talk about how horror movies like to do sequels, please? Can we just not?
Some work. Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Yeah.
Fantastic movie.
I know. I just like as a slasher fan, it like really kind of just like hurts me a little bit, you know.
I love the Saw franchise.
Yeah.
You do. I know you're juicing for Spiral.
I'm juicing for Spiral. I'm seeing it tomorrow night.
Wait, tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow. Oh my God, I am so stoked. And like, listen, I've talked about it before. It's not my favorite franchise ever. The story's really cool, but like, I really get tired of seeing like how the human body can be like tortured and like bent and like all this shit. Like, I am so excited for Spiral because I think it's gonna have like more of like crime solving element to it, and I'm all fucking.
And that's what they've been driving through like the promotional campaign. Is that it's more like 7.
Yeah.
Yes.
The movie 7 than like the Saw we know.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to see it.
I need something. I need something else. I need a refresher to like make me like excited for.
And they released the first like 3 minutes of the movie.
I haven't watched it.
Boy.
I haven't watched it either. I did not know that.
I know they said they were focusing more on the story and characters than the traps and the gore.
Okay, I see you love that.
I think that they didn't compromise any gore.
Yeah, well,
the first 3 minutes are very tense.
Yeah, okay, I'm
very
really excited. And I was going to ask you what you all thought about the SFX work, because I do SFX makeup as well. So like, you know, all those things. I was going to ask you like how you felt about the SFX work in Hereditary. What were your
God, the
thoughts on it?
shot of the head just decaying on the side of the road. Ooh, boy.
Yeah.
Especially like juxtaposed to just hearing the mom freak out about the decapitated corpse in the back of the seat.
Yeah.
And you're just focusing on Peter. And then it cuts immediately to the decapitated head. And you're like, oh, so this is fucked up.
Yeah.
Because I remember, so when I saw that scene for the first time, and I also, the execution of it's so crazy. Again, it's so smart in the way it makes you just sit in the dread of it, because, you know, having him come home, it's like, what do you even do, right? Like, how do you face the situation?
You smoked a lot of weed once, so you're high out of your mind.
You're in shock.
I bet he's so brittle after that.
Is like on the brink of a allergic like death, and you're speeding home, and then she's decapitated. Like, what do you do? And you just drive home.
The silence of him going home, getting out of the car, just walking upstairs, laying down. Like, I always read that as like this is the last time he can even pretend anything is normal for the rest of his life.
Yes.
Right.
So it's like he can't stop what's happened. So he's just going to lay down. I mean, how do you walk in your parents' room and tell them? Like,
right.
You know, you shut down, right?
Yeah.
Charlie's been decapitated.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, how do you even approach that situation in the first place? It's like, I had an IRL friend tell me a story about how like his brother had like a really horrible accident, and like one of the friends that witnessed it went home and went straight to bed, because like how do you process?
No, that's happened to me before.
You know,
my mom got hit by a drunk driver once, and like was in the hospital for a few days.
I'm so sorry.
And
oh my God.
This happened a while ago. I was sleeping, and my sister wakes me up and was like, "Mom's in the hospital. She was hit by a drunk driver." And I was like, "Okay," and went back to sleep.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Like, how do you process all of
that whole like situation? I'm like, okay, that makes sense, because I've been in not that dire of a situation, but I've been in a situation similar where I'm just like, Okay.
And think about it too. Like honestly, kind of, he murdered his sister. Like, I mean, like, he killed her. Like, I mean, that was all of his fault. I mean, like, it was an accident, but like, like, how do you think he's feeling? Like, this is all, I did this. This is all, like,
yeah.
how
I mean,
how
obviously,
do you
like,
carry
you would put
that
the blame on
burden,
yourself, but then you get to the dinner scene, and he's like, "What about you, Mom? Like, why was she there?
God. That scene.
That
Why
dinner
was she there?
scene.
She didn't want to go.
Yeah.
I didn't want her to go. So why was she there?"
I mean,
and then that's when I was like,
I think it is completely unfair for him to put that on his mom. At the same time, it's like, these are the dark thoughts. Yeah, these are the dark thoughts that you can't help from landing in your brain. Same with
the movie poses it in a way where you can't help to be like, oh, he's got a point.
Yeah.
There's
that moment, I was like, it's very fucked up, but he's got a point.
He's kind of right.
There's no rationale anymore. It's like everyone's feeling guilty. Everyone also at the same time wants to blame somebody else so they can stop feeling guilty. They never do have any, I love that element where she like stands up and says, you know what? And if this could have at least meant something.
Yeah, she says, what a waste, about the death, and was like, what a waste. Like,
it didn't bring us closer
together.
Yeah, we didn't learn anything.
Yeah, that made me very, very sick. Just like, fuck. Okay. Wow.
Amazing. I mean, that's really like, that really is, it's the piece de resistance of the film.
Imagine it's the 2018-2019 Oscars and Toni Collette is nominated and they play that scene.
Right.
You cannot help but give her that award.
Oh my gosh. I
you
have
cowards.
No, her, like, I'm not even joking. Her crying that her husband's on fire and then going to a straight face, like, that to me, that is like, that was perfect acting to me. That right there made me fall in love with her. Mm-hmm. It made me fall in love with her. And like, Kayla and I joke around about how we're going to start like a Toni Collette fan club because we just like love her so much and like everything she does. She's just incredible. But yeah, no, that dinner scene, that is human condition, human emotion and work right there. And no one likes that. No one likes to experience. First of all, it's awkward because it's like, should I leave? Are y'all okay? And then it's like, oh my God, this is so real. Like, they made a point. Oh shit, but he also made a point. And then the dad is just like,
guys,
I just want to cry. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm about to break down and cry, but I can't because I have to be the rock in the family, and like I'm slowly breaking inside. Honestly, like this is gonna sound so morbid, and like I know I'll own it, but like him catching on fire was like the best thing that could have happened to him because
seriously,
like I mean honestly,
like imagine he makes it through. His wife sawed her head off with razor wire, and then his son. Not only is his daughter dead, but now his son is possessed by her soul, which was full of a demon.
Which is now a demon.
Dude, you got out with probably less pain than living.
He got a break. He got a fucking break. And like I said, I know that sounds morbid, but
no, you got to
keep interrupting you, Taylor. I'm so sorry. Please.
Oh, you're fine.
We interrupt each other.
Well, I just want to give. Okay, sorry. I'll be
quiet. You have to just kind of call your shot in this format because there's the little micro delay. You just go. You got to go for it. That's what I prefer that you do. So you're.
Okay.
Otherwise, you'll let me just go on a tangent and never get a word in edgewise. Okay. You got to do what you got to do. But I think how we went on that quest was we were talking about the special effects and the head.
Yes.
Oh my God.
The head, and I just remember. First of all, what really put the pit in my stomach and like just killed me was seeing Toni Collette react and reel to it and like wishing for death and her sobbing. And it's almost comedic timing in the way that it cuts from like one scene into the next day where she's just crying and crying and crying. And I remember thinking like, okay, well, we stayed on Peter. We're with her. I guess we're just not going to see would happen. And I was like, and that's fine with me.
Yeah.
Then just without warning, cut to the head on the ground covered in
and you're
ink.
like, God bless. Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
And like I told you, answer like, no. So that got my like a little bit of scare factor, like phobia, I guess, factor. And I was like, oh my God, this is freaking awful. And like I said, before I saw this movie, I knew some of the parts. Like I had seen the ants, I had seen the fire, I had known about a head, I had known, but really sitting down and watching it, it was nothing like what I saw and heard. And, because I follow a lot of like horror movie Twitter accounts where they just post screenshots of the movies and they're like beautiful, they're gorgeous, because the screenshots are like one of my favorite parts. And I was not expecting this to go the way that it did. And no, I was just curious what you thought about the SFX work, like with her sawing off her head and like all of that stuff, because like I'm so into that. Like, how the heck did they do that? Ari does such a good job with those elements anyway. I mean, think about Midsommar, with him being in the bear suit at the end and like all that stuff, like, holy shit, that is just excellent. I'm very curious who did the SFX, because I haven't read or looked up who did the SFX work.
I don't have his name. Maybe I can grab it very quickly. I don't have his name, but I believe it was primarily like one guy who did almost all of the effects. And I know Ari Aster's, whole method is like, if we can find a way to do it practically, we've got to do it practically. I think the only digital effects I spotted in this whole thing were the flies in the attic at the end. That's it. And it kind of stands out like a sore thumb because there's nothing else like it in the movie. It's like it's all practical. The actors are there in the room with it, which I think is always preferable. I love that.
It's the best part. It's the best part.
Yeah, if you can make it real in the room, that's what you've got to do.
Yeah.
And I know the guy who did the effects for like Charlie's head, or like like you said, when she's sawing her own head off towards the end. He also did all the miniatures in the film too.
Okay. Oh my God. Wow. An artist. Yeah. Which
I thought was fascinating. And I was like, oh, how unusual that he'd be in the wheelhouse to do both. But then I thought about it some more. It's like, well, that's what a lot of these guys end up doing. It's miniature work,
True.
Right. And it's amazing because the film is so reliant on those miniatures, not just in the scenes that they're in, but in that they go out of their way to make the house feel like a miniature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're being controlled by the grandmother and the cult. You literally, that just clicked for me. Like, as you said that, I was like, holy shit. Like, I was literally just about to ask you, what do you feel like the miniatures do for this movie? And exactly what you just said. It's like Paimon or like the cult is like controlling them. They're the chess pieces. Yeah, they're the chess pieces.
It sets the tone right from the start, because the very first shot is zooming in on the miniature house, and then the miniature house becomes real. Charlie's in the bed and his father comes, or Peter's in the bed, and then his father comes in. It's like right from the riff. They're setting that they're creating that connection between the miniatures that the mom creates, and that they are just as vulnerable and helpless as the little people that she puts together and puts in those scenes. It's great, and then they all get destroyed, which is awful.
And that's kind of really the turning point of the movie, when literally their lives are destroyed by everything that happens. Yeah,
100%.
I never put that together. Wow, this show, if you've seen a movie and you always think about it like if you've seen this podcast live and you're thinking about a horror movie where you haven't like understood everything, just give it a watch, because you'll understand things. Because I never put that together, and now I'm like, wow.
I would have never known about the telephone pole unless you would have said something. You know what I mean? Like, holy shit, are you?
I have revelations on this show, and I'm a host, and I like, what the fuck? Like, she destroys the miniatures, and then like everything else is destroyed. And I'm like, oh, wow, that is so insightful, and it happened on this show live.
Yeah, no, this movie. I'm trying to think if there's like. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think if there's like any more of those like prominent, parts.
There's for me.
Okay, go ahead.
There's for me something
I'm trying to think.
was just sort of the rug pull moment of when Annie is finally putting it all together when she goes to visit
Yes.
what's her name? Is it
Joan?
Joyce?
Joan? Oh,
We
Joan?
said it earlier, didn't we?
I thought it was Joan.
Joan, you're right. You remember
Yeah.
Joan. When she goes to visit Joan again after she does the seance in her home, and it goes a lot it's a lot more intense than she anticipates, to say the least. And she like has an epiphany moment when she looks down at the doormat and realizes, wait, I've got like 5 of these in my attic. Wait, let me go home. And just the tension ramping up as she's ripping open boxes and looking at photo albums and finds Joan
the picture
in the
of them
photos.
Together.
That was what was making me go nuts.
I feel like that is like one of those elements like called like invasion of privacy. Like you've realized that someone has like been in your home. Like that is disgusting. You know what I mean? Like that makes anyone just like cringe, you know, and just like feel so gross. Like, and then, you know, you're like, oh my God, they were saying that something smelled. No fucking way. No way. And you're like, the real moment starts, you know? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They love Ari Aster just loves seeing those things throughout the film. Another one I noticed this time that I never caught, and at least I don't remember this in the theaters, is when, you know, Annie meets Joan at like the therapy groups. I was gonna say great scene, but like it's redundant. This movie is just a sequence of great scenes.
Yeah, exactly.
But when Annie's leaving the craft store with her paints and things, and she meets her, and that's where Joan first introduces the idea of like, I met this man and he showed me this ritual, and you can speak to your daughter again.
Oh my God, she's talking about Paimon, isn't she?
Yeah.
Well, there's probably that too, but something I noticed, you know, once they finally have that seance scene and Joan's talking about, you know, you have to pick your object, your sort of tether that connects you to the person beyond. You have to find that thing. For Annie, it's the journal that Charlie drew in. For Joan, it's the chalkboard. And that scene at the craft store, you literally see that she just bought the chalkboard and it's in the back of her car. I never noticed that before.
God. Oh my God. I didn't either.
I'm realizing so much about this movie just in real time where I'm like, oh my God. And like, I can't put myself through watching it again so soon.
Kayla's
but
like,
I'm going to have to watch it soon.
No, I might have to watch it tonight. I might just have to get over it and just like feel uncomfy for 24 hours. But no, I just, that Joan's character really angered me because as someone who has dealt with traumatic experiences in their life, the only thing you want is for someone to listen to you and hear you and be there for you. And Joan totally took advantage of that. And obviously there was a bigger plan behind that, but like all Toni Collette's character I think it's Annie, right? Yeah. All she needs is just love, you know, because her husband is like so numb to the situation that he's kind of like a blank canvas. Her son is pissed off at her because of this family dinner, you know, and so all she like really needs is just a friend. And then little do you know that this friend is conspiracying, you know, behind your back. And oh my God, it just pissed me off. I hated her character so much. I knew something was wrong. I knew something just felt way too off. Like, I get it. Like, and then after the therapy session, you know, she like comes up to her. She's like, oh, I lost my nephew. Did she say nephew or
son?
Was it son? Okay.
Her son
okay.
And her grandson, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But why? You look back at that and you're like, what were they trying to do something with them too? You know,
do a little Paimon side project.
Right.
It's one of the things where you're like, is she just lying to get closer, or was she also one of the people that like offered her male-born child to be like, you can have him, Paimon? It
pissed me off that she was so nice and so kind. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Like, oh, she's teaching her how to talk to her daughter in the afterlife. You know, I don't like using Ouija boards and all that shit. Like, But
I will never use a Ouija board.
No. But like, I was like, oh my God, like they're really trying to make a deep connection here. She's going to be able to like figure out everything that happened. And then like, no. No. And I just like, it really made me mad. I was like, I hate this character so much, you little. And that's, I mean, I know that's the point of it and they did such a good job with it, but like, the one thing she needed it was being faked the whole time, and it angered me so bad. It just pissed me off.
You are braver than I am. Kayla has used a Ouija board, and apparently it was dramatic.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
See, I've never done anything with a Ouija board before, and I'd be up for it because I'd be the guy
up for it, not in my home.
Because I'm the guy who's going to go, nothing's going to happen, and then I'm going to be the first one to die in the movie.
Yeah, no, so for me, the whole thing, okay, like this.
I have to deal with my cat trying to kill me.
Yeah.
I'm okay with demons not being in my house.
Yeah, my whole thing is like, once you open it up, do you really know that you closed it? You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
When you open it up, what have you
Paimon
opened yourself?
You have to make sure you close it. Here's the thing. All right, if someone donates $100 to our Streamlabs, we will do a live stream of a Ouija.
I'm fucking out.
You literally do a Ouija stream.
You literally beat me to it. I was about to say, if we reach a donation goal, we'll summon Paimon tonight.
Oh,
$100. No. Not even. It doesn't have to be tonight. If someone just randomly donates $100, and can you leave notes on Streamlabs? I don't know anything about Streamlabs. Okay, if you put in the note for Ouija, we will do a Ouija stream.
I'll leave. And I'll be like, well, so we talked about the movie Hereditary, and then all of this shit happened. Yeah.
And then someone donated $100, and then they did a Ouija stream, and then a demon came out.
Yeah, no. Fuck no.
And apparently the demon came out on Taylor.
Yeah, there he goes. Frozen. Beautiful. Well, there we go. There we go.
God damn it. It's happening. I was gonna say the only flaw in the plan is I don't have a Ouija board here right now, but don't worry, Kayla's on her way. Don't worry. We're
Kayla, you have one? How dare you? I don't know. I just like growing up, like being Hispanic, and like there's so many like like spooky like you're and I'm just like I'm just not even gonna mess with it. But like
La Llorona, right?
Yeah, exactly. That movie scared the shit out of me because I've heard about that growing up. But it's just like this movie. It was weird that they didn't have that element in it, but like it was also like kind of cool that they didn't, because that's like your typical like that's how you summon the dead, like they had to be kind of creative with it, I guess. And I really like that it wasn't a Ouija board, because that is your typical thing. Or like the Evil Dead. I love the Evil Dead, don't get me wrong, but like reading from the book, oh no, I see it. I love that movie, but like reading from the book in Latin, like I'm glad it was a little bit different.
It kind of turned the expectations, because the obvious route is the Ouija board, which
it seemed innocent.
Before Walmart, you know what's crazy? They sold it at Toys R Us.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't worry about Ouija boards too much. I'm like, they built this thing at the Milton Bradley plant. Like,
I'm sorry, I just
right next to Candyland.
I'm fucking terrified.
You know what else came out of a toy factory?
What?
Chucky.
Yeah, true. This is so true. Yeah, no, absolutely. I love Chucky so much.
And Furbies.
Yeah, true.
And Furbies, yeah.
Gremlins.
No, Furbies are okay. Let me tell you a story about Furbies.
Go on.
I had a Furby, a green Furby. Green's my favorite color. So I got a green Furby. I would carry it everywhere. So I was in kindergarten, and it was story time. We were reading the first Harry Potter.
Okay.
So this is like 99. And the Furby just goes off and like says, because you could record messages, it just says fuck on it in the middle of story time. I don't know what that word means, and I got in so much trouble. I'm like, and it wasn't a voice I knew.
Yeah.
It just said fuck.
Oh my
so
God.
Furbies are cursed.
Yeah, they are 100%.
Furbies are cursed, and that is confirmation.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Like I feel like I'd heard that story. Like that was a thing that was happening. Or no, I think I'm thinking of Tickle Me Elmo's, where he would say some shit about Satan.
Oh,
yeah. Furbies also would yell fuck in the middle of story time in kindergarten.
Oh
They're just a bunch of little stinkers. That's just their personality coming out.
That's gremlins. It's gremlins. They're just secret little gremlins. I'm telling you. But I will say, like the Ouija board not being there, it almost felt like, oh, this isn't gonna work. And then when it did, I was like, wait a second, oh, that's really scary, you know? Like
it works super well.
Yeah, it did. It did.
And then Tony like channeling the younger actresses like mannerisms and like voice pattern, like it was so creepy, so creepy, so like, well done.
I'm not like 10 out of 10. Like seriously, if I could like hug Toni Collette, like I just would like hug her. Like you're just be my mom. Like I just love you.
She follows this up with Knives Out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. But I liked that. I liked that movie a lot.
Knives Out is a masterpiece.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. I was like, what are we saying? Because I really like that movie. Her personality did.
No, we're just saying Toni Collette is literally perfect.
Yeah.
The range.
The range.
The range. Yeah.
Yeah, the range.
The range.
But yeah,
she understood the job.
Yeah, there we go. We go.
She understood the job.
She did. She understood the assignment.
The assignment. There it is.
But
sorry, we're
no. You're totally fine. We're memeing.
We're old men here.
No, we're memeing. Okay, wait a second. I'm gonna be turning 30 this year.
Okay.
Wait. Okay.
I mean, we're all around the same.
Okay, I was like
27 in a week. He's 29.
I will be this year, buddy.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're all in the same range.
Yeah. No, I was totally kidding. I was like, just wait a second. But no, what a great. I want to watch it again and I want to see what are some other. I'm curious now because now I need to know and I want to look out for them. What are some other Easter eggs that you saw, Taylor, that we might have missed? Like the chalkboard, you said. What the fuck? And then the telephone pole.
The coughing under the bleachers.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Like he's gasping like Charlie did in the backseat of the car.
Yeah.
Like gasping for breath. There's also the crown that she draws on the pigeon in her book.
Oh, good point. The decapitated pigeon.
Yeah.
Decapitates the pigeon, puts a crown on it, draws the decapitated pigeon with the crown on it, and then he's crowned with a crown that looks very similar to that crew drawing.
That one didn't click for me. Great
job. Yeah, thank you. Oh my God. I was very curious, like what the thing that she was holding, when she was out in the yard by herself and her mom came to get her. I forget what that is. That's the pigeon head. It's the freaking pigeon head.
Yeah.
She was coming up with all sorts of trinkets in her room. Yeah. She was always like bending stuff. You never really got a good look at like what the end result, whatever it was she was doing, or like what she was doing with the pigeon. She gets like sidetracked by some random lady lighting fires in the backyard.
You know what the little thing that Tony like wipes off of her mouth when she's drinking tea? Do we know what that is? Was that something to bring Charlie into her body when she tries to summon her?
I don't know. That did stand out to me. There's that weird part where she kind of like picks something out of her mouth, right? That did stand out to me. I don't know. And I don't really have
the next scene is the seance,
right? And I don't really have any like Easter eggs that I can think of, but I can tell you one shot. I think it's pretty pronounced. I don't think it's too hidden, but that will still always freak me out to this day is the move from day to night right at the end of the movie where the last night begins and you get the big wide shot of their yard, goes to nighttime, naked people all over the yard.
Yes. I freaking hated everything about that so fucking much. Yeah, I hate
it. I do want to say my favorite shot, I think in like it's probably like my top 5 favorite like shots ever is when it is the mom in like up in the top corner of the room and then he turns around and sees the dude like in the doorway and then it pans back around and then like she's not there anymore in the top corner and that pans down and then she comes out of the black.
I hated everything.
Like that is my favorite like sequence of events. It's so well done. The camera movement is so well done, and you're like, what is going on? And it's just so like the movement of like her, just the whole thing, brilliant. Like I love that sequence.
And she's so helpless too, where it's like Annie doesn't get one final moment to try to fight. Like, she thinks she's got the rules. And I know this frustrated some people too. But like, she thinks she has the rules figured out on how the book works in the fire.
Yeah.
Like, you have to throw it in the fire because I can't do it because it'll kill me.
Yeah.
And then she goes ahead and finally throws it in herself, and he lights on fire. It's like, you have no idea what you're dealing with. You thought there are no rules. You thought you knew the rules. There aren't any. It's whatever suits this palpable thing that lives in your home.
We've talked about this before, when like you think as an audience member, you think you've figured out the rules of the movie. But then the movie is like, wait, there are no rules. So you don't know what is going on. You don't know what's going to happen. I love movies like that like establish like a set of rules, but are like, there are no rules.
Yeah.
So here is the fucked up thing that I found with the whole Paimon thing. You said that there were 3 decapitations, correct?
That's right.
When you look at a picture of Paimon, hanging from his waist are 3 heads.
Oh, there you go. He demands 3 heads.
Give him his 3 and he'll come hang out with you.
Yep. It looks like it's in some book that I think it's the book that she might be reading. But yeah, when successfully invoked, King Paimon will possess the most vulnerable host. Only when the ritual is complete will King Paimon be locked into his ordained host. Once locked in, a new ritual is required to unlock the possession, which is why I was like, ooh, I wonder if there's going to be another one. Because, like, but obviously I don't think there needs to be another one. I was just curious. But, well, there you go. There's the 3 head thing. We were like, well,
there you go.
3? So, well, there you go.
So if anybody wants us to summon Paimon tonight, I need you to send 3 heads. Streamlabs.
I'm out. I'm so
allegedly
freaking out.
Allegedly.
I'm so freaking out. No, that's hilarious.
But the way the movie ends, right? It begs the question of like, well, what the hell happens next? Like, what's next day?
Yeah. What does this all look like afterwards? Right.
Because even Paimon's looking around like, what's going on?
Okay, now what?
Like, they put the crown on him and it's like, well, I'm here.
Yeah. No, I definitely want to know like how the next day was. Like, hey, we're just all chilling in this tree house, or are we all in the house? Like, what are we doing? Like, how do we keep? I was curious about that as well.
Like, does this spell the end of the world? Like, is that what starts tomorrow? Is Paimon's reign on Earth, or he?
Yeah. Like, what happened? Yeah, I was very, very curious about that.
Which obviously this movie would never go to that scale. It wants to keep it all right on the level that it's operating on. But it does beg the question of what's like you see in the pages and the ritual and stuff. It seems like there's some wealth aspect to it. Like, he summons like untold riches for the people who conjured him or something. But you never even really get the cult's true motive. Like, they never say like, once we get Paimon, we'll be the richest in the world. Like, there's
God, we're the best. Yeah. So true. So
it's just
true.
what they're going to do. Like, it's just all they
they just say like, we reject the Holy Trinity and give our prayers to you, Paimon. Like, that's all they say.
And then I remember there's not like really too many, there's not much resembling a jump scare in this movie, but I remember even the first time I saw this, the first time they all shout "Hail Paimon," and they go, "Whoa!" Like, that made me
I hate it. I freaking hated it so much.
Because it's so quiet. And when you hear it, it sounds like way more people than could actually be in that treehouse.
Yeah.
There's like 6 people in the treehouse, but it sounds like 50 people.
Yeah.
And then it closes with such a happy song.
Okay.
It's such an upbeat song, and you're like,
You're like, cool, they did it. We did it.
Connor, to answer your question, sorry, I have been reading this and like so intrigued. I just posted it in your Twitch chat, so if you wanted to read it later. Last but certainly not least, I forget how to read when I have to read out loud. When Annie first goes to Joan's apartment, she drinks some tea and pulls a piece of black herb out of her mouth. It could be an innocent tea leaf, or it could be an agent of Satan, because this just so happens to be the same black herb that Grandma is feeding Charlie in the picture in her room. And if you think we're lying, Aster's screenplay specifies that it is the same herb.
There it is. That's it. They're getting Annie's body ready to take in Paimon until they're ready to throw that Paimon into Peter when he flies out the window.
What the
That must be why A24 like sells all their like screenplays on their shop, because they're like, There's so much hidden stuff in here. Like, you just have to read the screenplay.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. This, what I just posted in your chat, it's actually really wonderful. And oh my God, sorry. We talked about it, and I just wanted to say it really quickly. So.
No, that's great because
Bloody Disgusting is a great place for.
Oh my God, I love them so much. Yeah.
Content. So yeah, check that out.
No, that's perfect because I would have never put those two pieces together, and it was bothering me that she pulls it out of the mouth. I was like, that seems like so. Particular.
It's important. Yeah, that's an important part. But what does it mean? Yeah, I was like, oh, she's trying to poison her or something. That's what I thought. I was like, oh, great, here we go. There's a reason why I don't like this woman, But yeah, that's very interesting. Very interesting.
That's what Ari Aster does, and that's why these movies are so great to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was there anything that we missed on Hereditary here? Any moments or? I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, obviously there is, but anything that comes to mind immediately.
Honestly, no, not that I can think of. I mean, obviously, okay, I do have one final question, I guess.
Okay.
Was Peter in the class when was he having a seizure?
Oh God, that's a great scene. I must say that every time we bring anything up. God, that's a great scene.
Well, when he slams his head into the desk?
Was he or not a seizure? It starts with the A, I think.
An aneurysm?
Yes. Was he having an aneurysm? Or because they played that scene like he definitely could be having a seizure, because one of his eyes were drooping or a heart attack. You know how one side of your body goes numb when those things happen. They made it seem like that, but they also made it seem like he was possessed. So I was like, what do y'all think it is? Because
that happens after he sees the glimmer that Charlie sees, right?
Where he follows it around the school.
Yeah.
When he goes and sits down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the same day or is that a different day?
I think it's the same one. I know because there's that day, and then there's the day that Joan's yelling at him in the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I would say he's possessed.
Okay.
That is his moment of possession.
Or that's when Paimon's trying it for the first time, and it's not quite ready.
Okay.
Yes.
That part freaked me the fuck out because that might have been a little bit of digital effects as well, because I'm trying to think how could I pull up his eye with practical effects, but that really freaked me out, and I was
I'm pretty sure it was Alex Wolff, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did an interview and he said he contorted his face, tried to contort his face as much as possible.
Okay, well then I don't have the right products because I want to do that now. I'm going to literally, when we get done here, I'm going to go freaking try and do that shit because that was freaking amazing.
Yeah, he contorted his face and then and they sold that scene a lot in the promotional material, the trailers and stuff. That was the huge moment in the trailers where people were like, I need to see this movie because what the fuck is going on?
I love it.
Yeah. And I don't know how true this is, but because I just read it today, but apparently that they covered or sealed the desktop in foam, and then he actually does smash his face in the desk, but in doing so I don't know how much of this is true versus what you see in the movie, but I guess he actually did bust his face open and was bleeding out of his face.
I would believe it because foam can only absorb so much, so if he does it he could actually hurt himself, and I guess he did.
Yeah, I was going to say the only other thing I can think of is having the capsule in the nose, and when you slam your face, you pop the capsule in your nose. But yeah, dude, that scene, that's when I realized this poor guy, he's not getting out of this. He's it's going down. He's not going to be able to live. It's over for him,
And that's maybe somebody I haven't put enough appreciation on is Alex Wolff in this. Because I guess this was an extraordinarily grueling experience for him.
Yeah.
I guess he's one of those method guys, shows up to set, wants to be called by his character's name, apparently tries to break his own nose open.
Yeah.
On set, was in therapy once they came out of production, what was just so emotionally.
He's a Shia LaBeouf. He really puts himself in. Wow, I did not know that. Holy shit. A little bit. I'd read about this really interesting kind of homework that Ari Aster gave him, and I want to call her by her actual name. It was Millie Shapiro. Yeah.
Where he was like, I want the two of you to hang out. I want you to do it in character. Go out, and he would give him these tasks, and he's like, Millie, I don't want you to ever talk to him, and Alex, I want you to try to do everything within your power to get her to talk to you, and just go out and have a day, and like would send them to the restaurant, go have dinner, and like have him try to start a conversation with her, and just her not reciprocate.
Immersion therapy, immersion.
Yeah, he said he'd have them go out hours at a time. He had them go to a store, and he's like, Alex, your goal is to buy Millie a sweatshirt, but you need her help to figure out which one is the right one. And Millie, don't talk to him. And so just like by the time they get the set, they have this rapport where like they are so aggravated and agitated with each other that it just comes out very naturally when it's
so brilliant.
Yeah, I would fucking need therapy after filming this movie too. Like you can only handle so much of the elements, you know, and without completely just needing a little bit of a break from it all, you know. That's so interesting. That's incredible. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Huge shout out to Ari Aster even more for, you know, making them do that. And like I'm really excited to see Jordan Peele on the scene and like, you know, what he's going to do. And like, sometimes I think about like, what would this movie be like if Jordan Peele directed it? And I don't know. Sometimes I like to do that with horror movies and I'm like, oh my gosh, it would be such a different experience and it would still be good. It would still be absolutely excellent. But
in no knock to Alex Wolff, like I want to see so much more from him because he was brilliant in this. He's doing Old next from M. Night Shyamalan. Right. So I'm really excited to see what he does with that.
Okay.
And then he did his own film that he wrote and directed called The Cat in the Moon, I think, which is on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
So he's I think he's one of the, because they were all part of the Naked Brothers band, right?
That's correct.
Oh my gosh.
So like these guys are doing so much and it's so cool seeing them go from this like family show on Nickelodeon to doing such cool things in the film community. So I'm very happy about that.
I am. I'm really excited now that I'm learning all of this stuff. I see it now. I'm reading the stuff. Wow. Holy shit.
This movie rules, and Ari Aster, he's got my ticket for life, no matter what it is.
100%.
Yeah, I'm ready for his next film, which is described as like a romantic comedy horror.
Shut the heck up! So it's gonna be
what did he say?
Like,
he had a really fun. He always has a really. I know for Midsommar, his like brief synopsis was Wizard of Oz for perverts. He had another one like that for this new movie that I can't remember. But yeah, I know it's with Joaquin Phoenix, so you know it's probably gonna be his most bizarre thing yet.
Yeah.
I am so excited. You know it's going to be fucked
and you
up.
know it's going to be crazy because it's the first movie Joaquin signed up for after winning an Oscar. So you know he's like, I'm going to do something fucking crazy.
Yeah, no, seriously. You know it's probably going to be gut-wrenching relationship type issues and just like probably I could see some psychological abuse, some mental emotional abuse.
I would not be surprised if Ari Aster somehow gets Rooney Mara to star in it opposite. So like a real life couple in this movie just going through such terrible stuff.
Seriously. So real quick, what were those movies that Hard Candy? I want to write them down before I forget because my memory is horrible. What was the Room one that Kayla said? Room 1401?
1408.
Room 1408.
Oh, okay. I feel like I just need to see if I've seen it again. And there was one more. Coloss.
Do we have another one?
Colossal?
Was it Colossal? Why does that sound like that's not what it's called?
I don't think that came up tonight, but that's a great movie.
Oculus.
Yeah, it is a great movie.
Oculus. That's
Oculus. Yeah.
All right, I wrote them down because I want to watch those. But yeah, I'm excited.
Solid suggestions. Well, I think we did Midsommar, Hereditary as much justice as we could here tonight without going to the 4-hour runtime.
Yeah.
This is great. I love talking about these movies.
Yeah.
I always knew we would get to this one eventually because there was a lot of good reasons why, and we've absolutely seen that unfold here tonight. So thank you for bringing this movie to us, Ashley.
Yay, of course. I'll bring more if you ever want to have me back on. I'll bring more.
Absolutely. The invite is always there.
Hell yeah.
Before we wrap up tonight, of course, got to ask, where can all the good ghouls and goblins find you out there?
Oh, Oh, well, first of all, my name is Ashlinaa. My sinuses are going out. Give me a second. 2-hour mark. My name is Ashlinaa. You can find me on twitch.tv/Ashlinaa. Ashlinaa on everything. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Ashlinaa TTV, I think. But yeah, you can find me there. I am a variety streamer, so I stream it all. But I really like to focus on RPG, story, adventure-driven games. I do like to play indie games as well and horror games. Yeah, call me a final gal. Call me a slasher babe. I love horror. I love talking horror. I do SFX makeup. I do all kinds of stuff. And yeah, that's where you can find me. Come hang out. Come spend time. I would love to have you. And yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Fantastic. Ashley's got a great stream, so I absolutely recommend. If anybody listening isn't already following her over on Twitch, absolutely be sure to do so tonight. And I saw we got some Twitch follows tonight, so thank you everybody who did. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in tonight and giving us your time. We loved it. Be sure to tune in next week. Next Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, we always go live. We'll be bringing the man himself, George Thomas, on the show. I've been threatening to bring George on for quite some time to talk about Joel Schumacher's The Lost Boys.
It's a birthday stream for me.
Connie birthday. Come
Connie
on,
birthday.
Connie birthday. The Lost Boys with George Thomas. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then the following Thursday, we will have Paige Farah, who has joined us before on the Midsommar episode, interestingly enough. She'll be coming back to hang out with us and talk about Sinister. So that's going to be a blast on the 27th. So lots of great stuff coming up in May. Lots of reasons to tune in. We appreciate those who have, whether live or after the fact.
We are booked for June, but we are now scheduling for July. So if you're watching, you're interested on coming on to talk about a horror movie or a movie you find genuinely scary, doesn't need to be considered a horror movie, but any movie you find scary, that frightens you, shoot us a DM. You can find our Twitters up there and our Instagram right there. Shoot us a DM or a private message and just tell us you want to come on.
I can't. I don't know what I'm doing. Donate too.
Yeah. So just let us know because we want to talk to so many people.
Yeah, support horror, y'all. Seriously, like if you're not a part of this community, I really encourage you to dip your feet in. I'm so glad that I did. I'm so glad I took the chance and that I wasn't scared to be like not accepted, I guess. I was accepted right away. So please support your fellow horror content creators, anyone who participates and does anything horror, support them. So that's my spiel.
Well,
absolutely. And one last thing, we do have a Discord going on. You can find us at, let me bring it up. What? Real Entertainment. So the name of our channel, we have different channels for every show that goes on this podcast channel. We share news there so people can discuss the news since we're not doing news that much on the shows anymore. So definitely we'll put out the invite here in the chat. But definitely go ahead and you already did it.
I'm trying. Yeah. I hope this one still works. But yes, I'm putting it.
It said invalid.
Oh, it did?
We'll get a new one. We put the links in the description afterwards.
That's okay. Anyway. It's totally fine.
Just find our Discord. It's good. A lot of interaction there. People talking about the news. So
love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Beautiful. Well, once again, Ashley, thank you for joining us tonight. It's been so fun.
Yes.
You're welcome back anytime. Thank you, everybody who's been watching live tonight, or if you found the recording on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, all the good ones, and show us some love, holler at us, and say boo. Until next time, stay spooky, and of course, hail Paimon.
Oh,